Hey there, friends, family, and loved ones all. I've been covering the Paradise Fires now since the November 8th, 2018 attacks, where they said 85, 86 people died, where I've interviewed tow truck drivers and others who have gone in there and said, hey, I saw 200 bodies first time in. Thousands were murdered that day. All right, so this is what they're keeping. So the hospitals were spared, the Freemason buildings were spared, the Adventist hospitals. This is the game. They're taking over all the hospitals. The Adventist churches are. Some of them and others are being taken over, especially like in Mendocino here. And why is the Adventist church running hospitals, you might ask? For control. Adventists operate over 170 hospitals and 240 smaller medical worldwide. So what are they doing to the victims of Paradise? Nonprofit settled with PG&E for $200 million in 2018. From the original $1 billion claim, Adventist Hospital is claiming $200 million for themselves, for the corporation, over the people. The bankruptcy deal established the cash-strapped structure was structured in a way that favored corporate entities over individuals and has left many fire victims suffering compounding financial impacts while waiting to be made whole, as if they haven't suffered enough, which has a large population of older and low-income residents. And I chronicled how they attacked the senior center homes, how the wheelchairs were just left out there in the streets where the buildings were torched and they couldn't get out. Makes me sick to my stomach still to this day. So they're not going to expand it. They're going to close it down. The fund, which was supposed to have a $13.5 billion, was tied to stock prices. Stock prices pummeled. Hey, we can't make you whole because stock prices pummeled. Yeah, but we still paid our shareholders and we still paid our corporate CEOs and corporate interests. We paid them all whole. Yeah, they're fine. They didn't have to take cuts at all. So the 2020 trust was able to pay claimants, including corporates like Adventist, up to 45% of what they owed. Why are corporations getting made whole over people? The community has long anticipated the return of the hospital, the only healthcare provider and largest employer in Paradise, critical health source and economic driver to town, working hard to rebuild. Meanwhile, fire victims argue that the company maneuvered to maximize its settlement in bankruptcy court, slowing the process for compensating families and individuals. Slowing the process for compensating families and individuals. Slowing the process for compensating families and individuals. Affected much of the underfunded pot, and like most fire survivors, lawyers pointed out that Adventist was able to recoup significant amounts from the insurance. As payments go, fire victims legislation and other advocates have lobbied legislation that would exempt all fire victim compensation from tax. So not only do you get compensated when you finally do get the money, but you're getting taxed on top of it. Salt on wound, folks. They're just pawns. We're just pawns in the game. I showed how that happened, and it's just bringing up these memories of looking down into the floorboards of the cars that had been pulled over by OnStar and torched in line and seeing bones in the springboards and nothing else. It still makes me sick to my stomach. But again, they're not getting compensated, and they're struggling, and again, no one seems to care. And it's all tied to their stock. Why is it tied to their stock price? You know, why are they doing it that way? And then on top of it, to add insult to injury. But Governor Newsom has decided he can find $1.2 million in reparations to Black Americans per each to receive $1.2 million for atrocities done to the Native people. I'm going to do a video on that in a minute here. But this is just beyond the pale, and what it goes into is that they're so concerned at what they did to the Native people, not black. There's no such thing as black people, folks. They're brown skins. Their skin is brown. Indians, redskins, copperheads, Tartarian, Moors, Negroes, niggers, all those. It's brown skins, folks. Stop using the word black, please, please. Brown skins. Let's reclaim your Native heritage. All right, so census, that means all trace their heritage back to these requirements, and documents published Monday. The task force voted Saturday to recommend the state of California apologize for racism and slavery and other down payments for varying eligible brown residents. Proposal could be $800 billion if they become law. including environmental pollution discrimination. Task Force recommended 13,000 per person for those that are incarcerated, because all of a sudden they're suddenly concerned about the brown skins, but not about the burned out victims of Paradise. And please remember this whole Paradise Lost, November 8th, this book by John Milton about the fallen Satan is all about, and the date the attacks was the date John Milton died, November 8th. The attacks were November 8th. And this is about the Satan falling from, and this is another quinky dinky here. Paradise is about Satan's victory over God when he tempted Eve with the forbidden fruit, which led Adam and Eve being expelled from paradise and their subsequent fall. The fire started on the 8th of November and was 8 days after Satan's expulsion from paradise that Satan returned to tempt Adam and Eve with the fruit of the forbidden knowledge. The 8th is also 1 day before the 9th of November, 9/11, in 11 year. Therefore, the fire started on the eve of 9/11. Adam and Eve and the fall of paradise. Another Luciferian ritual. Thoughts and prayers for the fire victims still to this day. And again, they say 85 people, and it's tens of thousands. I mean, this bus was filled with children, folks. We cannot forget. And then we had Cal Fire with 50 caliber rifles on scoper shoots, assassination rifles. What are they doing there? And I have my free book on PDF, but we do have, thanks to Mike Morales and others, the blast profiles of what happened that day, and the satellite imagery. I mean, look at that thing. And that's supposedly from a fire. There's a picture I took that shows the laser cuts in the sides of the hills. Car completely torched, nothing around it, no trees, no nothing. And then you can see the torch marks, psh, psh, like they're practicing. This is above the Eel River, just due south of Paradise, about 5 miles. Then they had to cover it. And look at this plume again. I show this plume sitting way up here. Here's Lake Tahoe, 11 miles by 22 miles. So this plume has to be a good 15 miles tall at least. Showing the evidence once again. Forest fire. It's a forest fire. And here again, we get the numbers game. 666 was the fires in Paradise, but just across down 20 minutes away in Chico only got 4 inches. And over here in Truckee got 0.84. So again, they're playing games with us, telling us what they're going to do. Here's Trump, Biff, Paradise, Pleasure. He's the only one that went there, along with Gruesome, Robert Kennedy, and Jesuit Governor Jerry Brown. They're the only ones that went to Paradise. They didn't go anywhere else. And again, this is supposedly a forest fire, folks. We cannot forget what happened. And here's California Fire Chief Ken Pimlott got on 60 Minutes and said that Paradise from Hell, the football that had traveled at 60 football fields per minute. Okay? 205 miles an hour going from the east to the west with 12,000 foot Sierra foothills right in front of it, and the winds kicked up out of nowhere, no wind profiles whatsoever, 205 miles an hour, and no one questions a thing. No one questions a thing. And then they promoted on 60 Minutes, Hell on Earth Inferno. Dante's Inferno, folks. And this is the school bus. I didn't have the guts to go look in there, but I looked in a couple of these others, and it's just horrifying what went down. Again, they were pulled over, and they waited till 8:30 in the morning till the kids were traveling to school, premeditated. And then you got these idiotas like James Lee Witt, who who worked for Clinton as Department of Homeland Security. He has all these companies that are disaster relief companies. And he was put in charge by the newspaper, Darius Anderson, the Santa Rosa Press Democrat, appointed him North Bay rebuilder. And he comes in, and we have 66 California fires with 600 people. It's more than just humans, folks. And then again, in the Paradise, just to recap a little more, let's go through these. We've got Mount Ararat, Noah's Ark, right by Paradise, folks. It's all connected. All part of the same agenda they have. And then the underground lightning is another thing. ULF, underground lightning, was used, and you see the trees burning from underneath, but they could still, Roy Emerson, the largest logging, bigger than landowner than Gates and Ted Turner, he came in and logged all the logs that were still loggable because the fires were burning from the inside, not from the outside. And again, microwave. Doesn't melt plastic, but it melts everything else. Microwave. Directed energy weapons. Again, no outlet. People couldn't leave. They were blocked. They brought in foreign police. They brought in police from outside agencies. And then the local police said, no, don't leave. There's no worries. Nothing going on. Just stay in your home. And again, great tribute to David Dees for all his great work. Again, 3,000 degree temperatures, hottest forest fires, 1,524 degrees. And you're telling me the fires got under 300,000 degrees and torched tempered glass 25 degrees, porcelain 2,700 degrees, steel and iron. Oh, but left the trees and left the plastic mailboxes. Miss you, Dave. Forest fire. What is this ball up here, folks? What is that? What is that? All right. And here the cops are keeping people from leaving. And again, this is all predicted in the scene. Again, a forest fire, folks. And where's the fire captains? I've gone around these fire departments and around here, and they just don't seem to care. And again, here's Gruesome, Trump, Brown at the scene, and they didn't go to any of these other fires, and it's built along the same lines they're putting the smart trains in. And there's also these mega dams, which they're planning on putting in here as well. So it's all part of a much, much bigger agenda. Again, what is that up there? And this is pictures that were actually given to me from people that took these. This I call the burning tree because it's the only tree that burnt. See, the guy's broken glass right here. Anyway, he took these shots and gave them to me, and this is the only tree that burnt. You see the dollar tree right here, and this tree got hit, and here's the lasers coming in. Here's this focus on it, light focus. So you clearly see proof, evidence that this is an attack. Trying to destroy California. Here's the number, page 13, right? PG&E taking over, morphing. And again, the fire chiefs had no clue, but we did. Again, needs to be completely investigated. It was a pre-planned event. These are people from inside saying it. And again, here's the profiles of the event horizon of that day, November 8th. And look at that thing. And then we had 7 days of chem fog. So this is California. Here's Lake Tahoe right here. Here's the event right here. And then this chem fog just completely covered Northern California. Let's see, anything else I want to add here? Oh, yeah, this is really important. All right, so there's a guy named Craig Clements. Look him up if you want. San Jose State climatologist professor. Craig Clements, also a Google scholar. Anyway, he has a thing called a LiDAR truck. This is a LiDAR truck, okay? LiDAR, light-emitting radar. And they can see through clouds. They can see through things. He was there with his LiDAR truck at 8:30 in the morning, he admits, on November 8th. He was there for the event from San Jose. Craig Clements, San Jose, climatologist. Look it up. Pre-planned, premeditated. And this was going to be my original cover book. Look at the devil right here. Here's a fireman running away. Look at the devil. I didn't put that in. I put the other one in, but I like that shot. Anyway, so I've done what my grandfather calls a yeoman's work, and on Plain Truth 3, it's still up. I've got over 80 videos. John Lord's passed away. He had the great guts to get online and say, I'm a fire captain 20 years, and this is not right. I went up with John and Matt Dinkin several times to Paradise and chronicled all this. And I've got over 90 videos. And no police departments, fire departments, administrations, governments. Nobody's calling me up to say, hey, can we talk to you about this stuff? You seem to know more than anybody else about it. You've covered it more than anybody else. You got first account individuals. You got tow truck drivers. You've interviewed fire departments, policemen, and you got them all on record here, and you've taken your own shots and everything and gone up there. Maybe we can learn something from you. Maybe you can share with us. Maybe I should watch all your videos so I can understand what's going on. Nothing. Nunca. Nada. They don't seem to care, and their lives are at risk. So anyway, so you can look at all these videos. And again, RFK, he says, oh, that directed energy weapons. No. So he went to Paradise as well, and that's how you know. And there's Matt and John. So these are the videos I have on this, and you can check them out too. But again, plastic, microwave, doesn't melt. And we need to honor these people and the animals. Animals don't have a say, folks. We're their protectors. And nature, too. All right, so that's just a brief recap, but they're not paying the victims, and it's continuing on. They want them out of there. And that's the bottom line for this. Even though they have filled out all the paperwork, they've done all the homework, they've now, so what are we, 5 years later, and they're still not getting compensated. But the hospitals are, yay, and the corporations are, yay. And so, hey, we'll take care of the corporations, and we'll take care of our own. But you little people, sorry. We really, really don't care about you. We really don't. All right. Paradise Lost. Peace out. Head up on a swivel. Love one another, folks. Thanks.